So, like everything these days, we've got an app for that, so you can download it onto your phone. And lots of interesting things about Dublin and your tours and attractions. But it also has a live feed. It shows you where the buses are as we go around town. So instead of going to a bus stop waiting for us to 20 minutes for a bus to come along, you can see where it is on the loop and then you set it to stop. Just say, like hanging around the bus stop. But this is O'Connell Street, one of Dublin's busiest streets, and the main thing in the street is just in front of us. I'm sure you've already seen it anyway. It's a 120-metre monument of light, the spire. So this spire was designed to be here originally to celebrate the millennium. It would have been one of quite a few millennium projects we had planned back in the day. But the spire did miss the millennium, missed the party by 3 years, on 2003. And since then it has picked up some nicknames. It's known as the Spire in the Mire, the Stiletto in the Ghetto, and the Pole in the Hole. But it's a world record holder. That is actually the tallest sculpture in the world. It's classed as a sculpture. It's 120 metres high. But normally the first thing I always hear people say when they see it, they go, oh look, what's the point? Good question. But now, tours and attractions, things to do around Dublin. So the really busy attractions, these are ones I'll always recommend to book up online all year round. So the busiest attraction in Dublin by far is the Guinness Storehouse. So I always recommend to pre-book that up online, because once you've got your booking, you know where to be, what time to be there, and you'll definitely get in. If you turn up without a ticket, they'll either turn you away, or you probably end up standing out in the street waiting for a later time to go in. So that's one I always recommend booking up online, is the Guinness Storehouse. Jameson Distillery is another very popular one as well. I recommend to book that one up online, as is the Book of Kells. At Trinity College, over 1 million people go to see the Book of Kells every year. And they're on their winter schedule at Trinity College, so Book of Kells doesn't open until midday today. Now it's time. But we do have one attraction, you're not going to get into it unless you've got an online reservation, and that attraction is Kilmainham Jail. So Kilmainham Jail is pre-booked online only, and they're generally booked up 5, 6, 7 weeks in advance continuously. But because they get booked up so far in advance, they always get cancellations, and they post the cancellations up on the website first thing every morning. So Kilmainham Jail is on it. It flows through Dublin city centre, dividing Dublin in two, north-south. So leaving O'Connell Street behind on the north side, we're now here in Delia Street on the south side. So this south side of the river is actually the larger of the two sides. The south side of the city is where 2/3 of the 1.4 million population of Dublin lives. So straight ahead of us, that grey building in front of us, that's the student accommodation of Trinity College. So we're going to be following the road round to the right, going around Trinity College. It's the oldest educational establishment in Ireland, Trinity, founded under the instructions of Queen Elizabeth I in 1592. So the campus of Trinity back then were deliberately targeted monasteries to keep the book safe, so they sent it here to Ireland. And you looked around it, they had keys to the gates, paid the maintenance of the park. And we've got 5 Georgian squares in Dublin, so 2 of the Georgian squares on the north side of the river, quite close to O'Connell Street. But 3 of them are on the south side where we are now, and we're going to see all 3 on this side of the river. But in the corner of Merrion Square, just there on the left-hand side, you'll see the coloured statue. That's Oscar Wilde relaxing back on the rock there. Famous Irish author and playwright Oscar Wilde. He wrote The Importance of Being Earnest. He wrote Lady Windermere's Fan. I think he's Trinity College's most famous graduate, Oscar Wilde. He graduated from Trinity with first-class honours. Once he graduated from Trinity here in Dublin, continued his education. He then went on to study one of the top colleges in England. He went to Magdalen College in Oxford. And it was when he was at Oxford University when he gained his notoriety. But where the statue is located, written off maps around him, they have some of his famous quotes. Very witty man, Oscar Wilde. He said that I can resist anything. Not temptation. Number one, he said the only thing that's worse than being talked about is not to be talked about. But plenty more like that to go and have a read. This is our stop number 4, Merrion Square. Hello. Good. You guys have all got tickets. Come on board. Welcome on board. Hello. So this is a good stop also for the National Gallery. If you look across the road down the right hand side, behind the black railings is the entrance to the gallery. It's just opened, it's free to get into, it's part of our National Museum. and you'll find works on display here from artists such as Van Gogh, Monet, Picasso. But the gallery's star attraction is going to be the Caravaggio, the Taking of Christ. They previously called it the Lost Caravaggio until 1990, when it turned up in an attic in Dublin, and the experts got hold of it and they eventually authenticated it as an original Caravaggio. So the gallery on the right hand side, very well worth a visit if you've got a bit of spare time, doesn't cost anything. There's an extra bonus here this weekend as well. You can see on the left hand side we've got the local artists. Now they've all got their own little section of railing, and they're allowed to put up their works of art for display and for sale. That's the main reason for being there. That's a nice little thing to do on a Sunday afternoon when the sun comes out. But as we go past the gallery on the right hand side, the building next to it is our government building. It's called the Leinster House, and it's where the Parliament sits. It's set back from the gallery slightly. The building was built in 1741, originally the private residence of the Duke of Leinster, but it's housed the Parliament in Ireland since 1920. And that's got the flag flying over it, that's Leinster House. But look directly to the left, just behind the statue there, and there's a brand new bike shed that was only installed there in March this year. And that bike shed is actually causing an awful lot of controversy at the moment, because that cost the taxpayer €336,000, that little bike shed. And so the government are trying to explain why it costs so much. And they can't. They can't do it. But there's the government building, Leinster House, where the Parliament sits. Another museum just here on the right hand side, the Natural History Museum. We actually call it the Dead Zoo here in Dublin. So the Dead Zoo, the Natural History Museum here on the right, is going to be closed now for the next couple of years, because the building is very old. It's an 18th century building, and it's got a lot of restoration work that needs to be done inside. So that's going to be closed for a couple of years, unfortunately. And then another impressive building here on the right is the Department of the Taoiseach, or the Taoiseach's office. So I'll stop number 5. Stop number 5. So the Department of the Taoiseach, just here on the right hand side. Now Taoiseach is an Irish word, means chieftain or leader. So our chieftain or our leader is our Prime Minister, and our co-Prime Minister, his name is Simon Harris, and he's been in the job now for 3 months probably. It's tradition every year on the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day, for the Taoiseach of Ireland to go to America and give the American President a bowl of shamrock and have a meeting. So Leo Varadkar, he was our Taoiseach at the time, and he did his duty, took the bowl of shamrock over to America. He had a meeting with Joe Biden. When Leo Varadkar came back, he quit. Don't know what Joe Biden said to him, but he gave up the tradition, so we had to get a new Taoiseach, and Simon Harris, he was appointed in. But it's a coalition government we have here in Ireland at the moment. We always get coalition governments. It's a strange coalition we have though at the moment. Didn't turn up. So the thing what happened is that a few days before he was due to leave London, the Irish crown jewels were stolen from Dublin Castle. So word of this got back to evidence that this had happened, so he cancelled his visit. So he's obviously thinking, well, that's what goes on there, I'm not too sure it's the place I need to be. So he never turned up. But also, as a little by the way, the crown jewels stolen from Dublin Castle in 1907 have never been recovered. It does make you wonder what happened to them. They might skip around somewhere, you never know. Maybe some second-hand jewellery shopping on the cards. But